All right, so I was looking around for news this morning, something to do a video on. I ended up fucking having work get fucked up last night, and I found this article. Amazon is passing along the cost of a new digital tax to thousands of French sellers. Basically, what's going on is France stood here and passed a tax of 3% to try and level the playing field between, online retailers like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, and local, basic people like cheese manufacturers, bakeries, things of this nature, right? So it says Amazon is raising seller fees by 3% for thousands of small and medium-sized businesses in France because of the new digital tax passed by the French government. France's government said the 3% digital tax aims to level on playing field between big tech companies and local businesses. Executives from Amazon, Facebook, and Google will testify at a U.S. government hearing on the French digital tax today. All right. Virginie Lemaire recently opened her email to an unsettling message from Amazon. Fees for sellers like her in France will be increasing by 3%. Lemaire, a single mother of two, started her jewelry company, Pierre de Onjour, in 2011. Trained as an artisan jeweler, she makes homemade custom pieces like necklaces, bracelets, and rings. The French small business owner started selling her products on Amazon 2 years ago and now generates 1/5 of her sales from the e-commerce giant marketplace. It was an unwelcome surprise when she found out that Amazon will be raising her selling fees for her and thousands of other small and medium-sized French businesses starting in October. Well, this is what happens when you raise taxes on, a business in general, just to raise taxes. They're not going to pay it. They're just going to either raise the prices of shit where they're selling it at, or they'll pass it on in another manner. This is what they're doing. They're just passing it on. This happens on a regular basis. Anytime, like, for instance, like the U.S. tries to tax diesel or tax cigarettes, things of this nature, the company's not paying it. The people are. Right? And that's how it operates. The companies don't eat taxes. They just pass them on. Like, if you want something delivered to Rhode Island, like, you have to pay a premium for it because they have tolls just for tractor trailers on their roads. You know what I mean? Like, this is what happens when you try to tax things. Like, it just is what it is. So, with that being said, now, the reason the company cited was simple: a 3% digital tax passed by the French government in July. Amazon's move appears to directly conflict with France's government's aim of leveling the playing field between big tech and small and medium-sized enterprises, and further complicates France's effort to rein in companies like Amazon, Facebook, and Google. The fact that such companies pay less tax in France than a large bakery or a cheese producer in Quercy creates a real problem. Fuck the French. Like, these commie socialist bastards. Like, for fuck's sake. France's tax targets companies that makes at least 750 million euros in annual revenues from digital activities, including 25 million euros from within France. The levy applies retroactively from January 1st, 2019, and will raise an estimated 500 million euros per year. Like, I don't legitimately, like, I understand, like, what you're trying to do here, but, like, it's not gonna help. And it's really not the fact that, like, when we're going through this right now with the retail apocalypse, like, everything's down. Car sales, retail sales, box store sales. Like, even companies like Lowe's is having a hard time, and they sell fucking lumber and shit. It's just the fact that the consumer is dead. Like, it just is what it is. In places like France, where you have like such a low goddamn birth rate, like you're gonna be selling into a fucking shrinking market, and it doesn't, like, you have to. At some point, the government has to come out and explain this to the people. Like, I understand why we continue to lie to everybody. It's the dumbest shit ever. The French has already faced significant backlash. The President Donald Trump, the President Donald Trump administration initiated an investigation into the measure and threatened retaliatory tariffs, saying the tax unfairly targets American companies. Economists and tech firms, including Amazon, had warned France's tax would ultimately result in higher prices for consumers. Yeah, and that's how this operates. Executives from Amazon, Facebook, and Google will testify in a U.S. government hearing on the French digital tax Monday. In prepared testimony, Peter Hiltz, Amazon's director of international tax policy and planning, called the 3% levy harmful and discriminatory. He said it will negatively affect the hundreds of thousands of small and medium-sized businesses that use Amazon services to help reach customers in France, including 10,000 sellers based in the country. Like, I don't understand, like, why can't you just, like, fucking pass a basic sales tax? Like, it would make life so much easier. You know, like just tax them the same way you tax everybody else, and just literally make the playing field even for everybody. You know, like because you're not gonna stop these fucking retailers from going down. Like it is what it is. Like there's less people, you're gonna have less demand. It's just a fact of life. You know, and like anyway. This tax is aimed squarely at the marketplace services we provide to businesses, so we had no choice but to pass it down to selling partners, Amazon said in a statement. We recognize that this may place small firms in France at a competitive disadvantage of their counterparts in other countries. Jewelry maker La Mer, for example, will now pay Amazon 12.36 of every sale she makes on the marketplace as of October 1st, up from 12% previously. In her interview with CNBC, she said any increase in fees squeezes her profits with margins already tight from other taxes and the cost of materials. Well, yeah, you live in a fucking socialist country. Like, it is what it is. Like, this is why you probably shouldn't live in fucking France. Lemaire finds herself in a predicament alongside thousands of other French small businesses who sell their products on Amazon. She must either raise her prices for consumers or absorb the higher cost. We're not all respected, she said via a translation. Lemaire said selling with Amazon is already a stressful experience where the customer is king. She prefers Etsy, which brings in 70% of her total sales, because she said it only charges 10% in fees. Lemaire is also paying for ads on Facebook to drive traffic to her own website. Yeah, man, like, yo, something got to be done about fucking these goddamn places. Like, legitimately, like, and the ads really don't work. I mean, they do somewhat, but they really don't. And like half the time, like the ad, when you try to put an ad on Facebook, like they'll reject it if it's not up to snuff as far as with their content guidelines are concerned. And like I tried running ads on Facebook to bring individuals over to my channel on YouTube, and like legit, it was an awful experience. Like it would never helped anything. In their prepared testimony, Facebook, Google, and Amazon all voiced concerns that France's unilateral approach with the digital tax will encourage other countries to impose similar measures. They instead argued that OECD wide effort to address digital taxation be less harmful to businesses and consumers. Look, man, you need to stop. All right, like as in, people are dumb. All right, voters are borderline retarded. They all want free stuff and nobody wants to pay for it. This is really the problem. All right, like everybody thinks we're going to go back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s and live in the manner in which we were accustomed to living back then. And it's not going to happen ever again. Like that era is over with. It's not coming back anytime soon. To be a fact, it's going to get very, very dark very, very soon. Like the collapse is coming, not just of Western civilization, but of the entire economy as we know it in general. Like you'll have shifts in the economy as we've gone through the past like 200 years, with industrialization, the advent of oil, electricity, computer age, wartime, nuclear war, the just constant, gamesmanship of that. There's so many things that have happened and changed, and the next change is going to be even bigger. Like, and the ideology that tech will save us from this is a shitty thing to bet on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, like, you think that robots are going to come through and turn this into a utopia, but the reality is that that's just not true. And if it does happen, it's not going to look the way you think it's going to look. It's not going to be some beautiful utopic vision. It's going to be a dystopian nightmare where you have corporations with the whip hand over everybody because nobody has the ability to produce shit for themselves. And you're going to be fully reliant upon these corporations who make these robots and who service these robots and who are using them to manufacture goods. Like, it's not going to be what you think it is, and it's not going to be on the level of what you think it is. And once the competition's gone, the need for competition, because, you have AI creating new AI, the world will, like, people will cease to be a necessity, and you'll lose all value in human beings. And life will cease to have meaning. And our entire society, our entire existence will vanish. So I think we need to rethink what we're really thinking about here. You know what I'm saying? And really get down to what's important and make a decision about where we're going. Because the way we're going right now and the direction we're heading is not a positive. Especially with the fact that, like, the more we invest in tech stocks, and like they stand here and they have private ownership and they take them out public in an IPO, like none of them have done well. And none of them make any money. Alphabet loses money. You know what I'm saying? Facebook loses money. All these companies lose money. Amazon didn't become profitable until like 2018, 2019. I don't know. I think it's like 2018, I do believe. End of 2018 was the first time they showed profit. And even now, they're getting down to the point now that they're showing profit, it's no longer positive. Like, yes, their market cap is growing, but it's not at a large rate. And they don't have a large profit margin. So with the recession and the downturn in goods, and even with a rise in the cost of shipping, they won't be able to survive. Something that maybe we all need to think about. Anyway, man, Tom Peters, P No News. Holla at your boy.